Hello everyone, my name is PlasmaWasp and this is my very first Sting review of 2023. The game I'm going to talk about in this video is called Prey and it was in my opinion the best game I played in 2022. Just to make this 100% clear, it's the Prey game from 2017 and it has nothing to do with the Prey from 2006. It would have been so much better if they picked a name which doesn't already exist, so we don't have to specify if it's the old Prey or the new Prey. Before I begin, I should probably mention that my reviews are as spoiler-free as I would personally like them myself before playing games for the first time. I always like to know nothing or very little about a game before playing it. Prey is one of the games where it might really destroy your experience if you know too much. Prey is a single-player, first-person sci-fi survival game in space. The game involves shooting, but I wouldn't call it a shooter, because you have an option to choose your playstyle and you can definitely pick one which doesn't require much shooting. In general, all enemies are much stronger than you, so you can't really run and gun through the game anyway. If you're not playing on the easiest difficulty, of course. It's more about finding solutions, finding ways to disable or weaken your enemies, ways to outsmart them. There are no boss fights, it has bigger enemies, but you choose if you want to fight them or not. You can play this game as a male or as a female character, but it doesn't really matter what you pick because you're still going to be the same person with the same name and same story. But I welcome the choice if it helps some players with strengthening the immersion. I picked a female and I have no regrets. The story of Prey is mysterious, confusing and delivered in many ways. You decide how much story you will get. You can learn about a lot of the recent happenings by reading emails and by listening to audio and video recordings. The main story is there mostly to guide you through all the areas as they slowly start to open up to you. It would be pretty average on its own. I wouldn't recommend you to play this game just to experience its main story.
What? What? Exactly. What you're going to do is have dinner with me. What? You say what a lot when you should say yes. Yes? See? All settled.
What makes Prey great is its gameplay, and you need to love it in order to truly appreciate this game. It helps if you liked the Dishonored games. It's not very similar, but you can definitely feel the touch of the same developer. You want to explore a lot and discover side missions which will enrich the game so much for you. If you rush through the game really fast, you will miss a lot of the things which makes Prey extraordinary. Don't be afraid to make difficult choices because no matter what you pick, you're going to have a great time. There won't be any regrets or endings which will make you feel bad. I honestly didn't care about the ending of the game at all. It's one of those which creates more questions rather than give you answers. The game has a high replayability potential where you can make your story take different turns. If you're interested in gaining all achievements, you will have to play through the game at least 3 times. 4 times in case your first time will be without the knowledge of what needs to be done in one of those 3 scenarios, and if you won't do it by accident anyway. If you love exploration, you will be excited in Prey because you get the whole space station as your playground and there are a lot of very beautiful looking environments. I spent so many hours backtracking just to find and unlock everything I could. Many side missions are unlocked by exploration. I believe that this game was made with players like me in mind. I can completely forget about time and spend all night wandering around Talos 1, not caring much about progressing the main story until I am sure I have been everywhere. At some point you will have so many main and side objectives that you will appreciate the tracking function. Talos 1 is a really huge place, so it helps to get some directions. The problem with it is that many times it will send you a certain way which is locked for you for some reason. You might run through many areas just to realize there is no way for you to continue. Later, the easiest way to get around can be through Talos 1 exterior, which means going out there into open space. I personally don't enjoy being without gravity. I get slightly motion sick, but it's not too bad. The thing is that once you activate all airlocks around Talos 1, it might be the quickest and safest way from place to place. But there is one big problem with it. The airlocks should show you their names when you look in their direction, and unfortunately it doesn't always work, so sometimes you need to move up close to it to read what's written on the doors. Moving in space is not very fast, and together with aforementioned motion sickness, it can get pretty uncomfortable. Some missions in Prey require you to find certain items and later read them in order to solve puzzles. I wish the game would sort the nodes better for you so all parts are placed close to each other on the list. Having it in the order you picked it up can make things very messy and annoying to switch between the clues. The sound in the game is probably the worst thing about Prey. There is just no direction or changed intensity of sounds. You can be really far or really close to enemies and you can't tell where they are based on the sounds they make. I decided to kill enemies walking around stomping the ground just because the sound was so irritating. It's the same for people you talk to. You can start a conversation, leave the room, and you will still hear them like they are standing right next to you. On the other hand, the music in the game is perfect. It fits the theme of the game perfectly. Most of the soundtracks are representing creepy alien music very well, and it makes the game even more tense when the silence of Talos 1 is interrupted by it and you know something is going to happen. Is Prey a scary game, you might ask? No, it's not a horror game. Sure, there will be a few jump scares here and there, usually an enemy you don't expect surprising you behind a corner. But that's all. No shaking with fear somewhere in the corner. In Prey, you can save anytime, even during combat. I really liked it that way. It gives you even more freedom to try things out. And by trying new things and survival methods, you improve and get better at the game. I played on hard difficulty and it was definitely challenging. I still remember my first tough enemies at the start when I had no proper weapons. They would finish me in 2 seconds when I tried to face them directly. I didn't even have to go to that room where they were at that point. I could have just ignored them until I got stronger. But the more I was getting killed, the more I wanted to find a way to beat them. And when I did, it was incredibly satisfying. In Prey, you have the option to gain many interesting abilities by using neuromods. This way you can become a specialist in a certain area real quick. You will also be able to scan enemies, and thanks to the data provided by scanning, you will be able to gain their powers or learn about their weaknesses. The best thing about it all is that you don't have to apply any neuromods. The game can be finished without it, so you can truly play the way you want. Prey is a lot about looting. You will never use everything you find, and that's where recycling comes in. I really loved recycling unwanted stuff and then using the raw materials to craft things I actually needed. They really did this so well that looting always felt worth it. You can add some extra survival modifiers before you start your playthrough. Your weapons can break, you can run out of oxygen in space, and you can get traumas for being exposed to certain factors. It's not recommended for inexperienced players, so I didn't choose it, and I would recommend you not to choose it either for your first time playing. These modifiers can't be changed once you start your game. You would have to start all over. But most of these modifiers will be in the Mooncrash DLC later by default, and by then you will have enough experience to deal with them. The Mooncrash DLC is worth playing if you enjoyed the main game. It's a roguelike campaign with a story, and you get it piece by piece by finishing objectives called Kazma Orders. When you have all Kazma Orders completed, you will get an ending to this DLC. At the start, you only have one character available, but you will easily unlock more by playing and finishing some of the Kazma objectives. Your goal is to escape a space station which is much smaller than Talos 1 was in the main game. There are as many ways to escape as the number of playable characters, and each of them has unique specializations, so they all play differently. Your goals are to unlock all characters, to find out what happened to them, which means to unlock and finish their story missions, and to escape with all 5 of them in one go without any of them dying. There's an extra condition to all that, and it's a timer represented by corruption level. Corruption levels can be 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, where 5 has the hardest enemies. Every time the world gets higher corruption, new enemies will spawn, and they will be tougher. Loot will not respawn, so you will be running out of resources eventually. After the end of Corruption 5, it's game over. But don't worry, this time pressure is not a big problem or annoyance. You can take your time, explore the base, read all emails and notes, because you're not supposed to finish all of this the first time playing with each character. It's meant to be played a lot. You are supposed to die and get stronger. If you are not attempting to escape with all 5 characters, or you don't have any other reason why to continue, just restart the whole thing and start on Corruption level 1 with all loot respawned and probably a little bit different conditions. I did a couple of extra runs to unlock all powers for all 5 characters, because that's the only thing you keep between runs, and it really makes a difference when they are maxed out. The final run with all 5 was very easy in the end, and at that point I knew every corner of the space station and got a bit fed up with it already. So really, take your time and enjoy the new environments at the start, because there is no hurry. You can always find, buy or craft a time decreasing item. This helped me to keep Corruption on level 1 until the end of my final run with all 5 escapes in a row. The Mooncrash DLC adds some new character powers, weapons and even enemies, and it has the weapon breaking and trauma modifiers which you could already have in the main game, but it was not recommended there. One more advice before wrapping it all up: do not rush escaping with all 5 survivors too early. I made that mistake and I was so close to succeeding. I only needed to find one item and it was done. But no matter how many places I looted, the item was not showing up. So I failed because of this randomness of the loot spawns. When you try it much later, you will already have a fabrication plan to craft this item and many other useful schematics you will find during your many successful and even unsuccessful runs. Prey is a game I kept avoiding for so many years after its release, mostly because I expected it to be more of a horror space station game like Dead Space or Alien Isolation. I'm not a big fan of horror games, it's okay to play them sometimes. So I definitely didn't expect that Prey would be this chill exploration game I would call my best gaming experience of 2022. I even got so excited while playing it that I started searching for a similar game I could play. My research gave me the name System Shock 2, and probably even the remake of System Shock 1, which should be coming out this year. If you guys played both this Prey and System Shock games, you can let me know in the comments section below what you think about their gameplay similarity. And that's everything from me today about Prey and Mooncrash. Thank you for watching my Stinger review. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumb up and subscribe to my channel so you can enjoy more game reviews, videos about new game releases, funny clips from my Twitch streams, and so much more. And now it's time for tada-tiddy-to-do Stinger!